Okay, so the fourth video in this series of my Sopranos rambles using TV tropes as a guide or as a way to ramble. So, like I said in the previous episode, we are now on to season 2, and this first episode of season 2 sounds like the start of a joke, doesn't it? Guy walks into a psychiatrist's office, and the quote is, "How many more people have to die for your personal growth, Dr. Jennifer Melfi?" So that's I think that's the angriest she ever is actually with Tony in that scene. I think even in the Blue Comet where she gets rid of him as a patient, basically, she's not as angry. She's basically resigned to the fact that she's found out what she should have known already, like years ago. Like at this point, for example. So the screenshot is of Matt and Sean in their first appearance at the It's the Webby Sticks place, isn't it? The place that's very pre or just before the .com bubble burst kind of place, I think, isn't it? Yeah, it's that kind of scam, I think. Yeah, as the name suggests, Webby Sticks. Their first appearance, and this is another season that it takes, I'd say, 3 or 4 episodes for them to find their feet in this season. I mean, some of the main players aren't yet in it until 3 or 4 episodes in. Yeah. Which we'll get to. So, what we got in the entries here, the bus came back, Big Pussy, after having fled from the city to parts unknown and nobody knows anything. Yeah, I mean, that's, as I mentioned, that was a big loose end from the previous season. And that's, yeah, that kind of answers that question. He's still alive, at least. We don't yet know for sure whether the allegations made against him in the previous season were true or not. But yeah, we do find out about that later as it goes on. Promoted to the opening credits, Aida Totoro and Ray DiMatteo, Janice and Adriana respectively are added to the opening credit role. Yeah, this is the first. I thought Janice was in like 2nd or 3rd episode, but yeah, this is the first Janice, and we get another significant character in the 2nd or 3rd episode who has something to do with Janice, shall we say. The opening credits, by the way, that's if in the first season they had a lot of the guest stars in the opening credits under a separate guest star section in the opening credits, whereas now the guest stars are added to the end generally, apart from Jerry Adler, who plays Hesh Rabkin. He always gets the guest star credit in the opening credits whenever he's in throughout the series. Anyway, that's an ultra kind of geeky, nerdy point, isn't it? Time skip. Several months have passed since the finale of the first season. I've skipped. Actually, does Skip himself appear in this episode? Skip Lipare, who's Big Pussy's FBI handler. I don't know. This Tony genre savvy. Tony attempts to get a new therapist, but the name he gives to the doctor, taken from analysis, is called out by the latter, who tells him he saw the film and has figured out that Tony's related to the mob. So yeah, that's a problem that Tony has. That's one of the reasons why he stays with Malfi throughout the series, really. This is the only one who's willing to take him on. Terence Winter, the staff member of the show, played Dr. Malfi's patient, who was he made 3 appearances overall. Yeah, he's the guy who's in the hotel. In the hotel room where she has, or the motel room where she has to take refuge in because of the events of the last episode of the first season. Yeah, this is the episode where Philly Spoons gets whacked by Gigi. This is one of my favourite lines. Here you go, you big mouth. Fuck. Yeah, I just love that line. I think this is also the episode when Matt and Sean beat up the guy in the Webby Six office, isn't it? Just like kick him under the desk, literally. Yeah. So, second episode, Do Not Resuscitate. Quote is, you know what, take her, you can have her, the two of you in that house deserve each other, it's worth watching, it'll be like whatever happened to baby Janice. Tony obviously said that. First appearance of Bobby, represented in the screenshot here. This is a scene where this is a scene where he gets mocked for his weight, and that happens a few times over his first few appearances. Kind of gets watered down as it goes on. It tends to be more Vito, I think, who gets the brunt of that kind of joke eventually. So yeah, the stuff with Junior is still out in the open, the whole having to deal with that situation now that Junior is under house arrest. Big Pussy is revealed as an informant in this episode. Okay, that's where Skip makes his first appearance. Jack Massarone is first appearance. He would later have a big role in a certain episode in the 5th season. This is one of the first big stupid Matt and Sean moments where they see Tony in his car as well. Yeah, they're not supposed to, and they're not supposed to pretend, they're not supposed to acknowledge that they saw him, shall we say. Very pissed off by that. Politically incorrect villain. Yeah, Junior. Title drop by the nurse to Janice while explaining choices that need to be made with respect to Olivia. Do not resuscitate. Yeah. Establishing character moment. Oh yeah. Bobby's first scene has him meekly greeting Tony and the other capos, agreeing to deliver his message to Junior about the latter's reduced assets and getting exasperated when Tony repeatedly calls him out on his weight. And it's also the great line, which can be used in a lot of online Sopranos discussions, which is, why don't you get out of here and shove your quotation book up your fat fucking ass? Because, making Sopranos quotes is a common thing in online discussions of the show, yeah. So yeah, as I say, kind of a slightly slower episode, like the first one of the season. I think it's this next one which we're going to go on to now. This next one, Livia versus Janice. Video example apparently, which not showing up. Anyway, yeah. Next episode, Toodle fucking O, episode 3. As we can see already, this is what I mean by in the screenshot. What I mean by the season finding its feet in this episode, I think. So the quote is, you ride him into town like some Vishnu come lately trying to play the concerned daughter. Who the fuck are you kidding? You're just here to pick the friggin' bones. Yeah. Oh, this is the episode where there's the party at Olivia's house. That's brilliant. Where we get the finest moment by Hunter, Meadows' friend, played by David Chase's daughter, where Tony asks her where Meadow is, and Hunter says, "I give up in the house." And the look he gives her is brilliant, actually. And this is where we get the first appearance of Richie. Start of their rivalry, of course, that lasts throughout most of the season. I'm the motherfucking one who calls the shots. 2 F-bombs in 2 words. That's impressive. Richie is of course apparently the uncle of Adriana, which doesn't really get explored that much further after this episode. There's a conversation with Christopher in this episode where Richie says, very enlightened viewpoint, of course, that Christopher can put his hands on his niece when they're married, but not before, Yeah, very great feminist, of course, isn't he? Karma Houdini. Hunter claims she got off scot-free after the underage party because her parents feared that she would become bulimic again if she was punished. Yeah, this is the one where the confiscating of the Discover card that Meadow comes up with as a punishment, which isn't much of a punishment at all. She looks incredibly smug after she convinces her parents to do that, yeah. David Proval promoted to the opening credits. Title drop when Malfi says to Tony as a goodbye and recounts it with immense embarrassment to Dr. Kupferberg. Yeah, this is one of those strange scenes where Malfi bumps into Tony outside of therapy during the period where they're split up. Yeah, the very rude joke afterwards with Pauline Seal about Seal's first time, shall we say. I can't do it justice by recounting it. Watch it for yourself. Big Brother instinct, deadpan snark, and Meadow has plenty of wisecracks to throw in Tony's direction while he's driving her home from the party. Establishing character moment. Richie's introduced swearing after seeing what happened to the old pizzeria, then berating and beating Beansy after the latter makes the mistake of not taking him seriously. At the same time, he's kind to both his niece Adriana and the waiter at Beansy's, showing that his is reserved for people he believes are mistreating him. Wow, I wouldn't say he's compassionate to anyone particularly, you know, he's yeah. I mean, Richie being nice to people isn't something I've thought about very much, but yeah, I guess he's not nasty to those two people mentioned there, is he? Yeah. Opinion changing dream. Dr. Murphy experiences one of Tony passing out in his car with the Wizard of Oz music playing, song from the Wizard of Oz playing, and crashing headlong into an oncoming semi. It convinces her to reverse her stance and resume providing therapy to Tony, based on a dream. Yeah, that's probably why there's not so much discussion of dreams, because she is heavily influenced by them as well, you know. Yeah. So this is the part, politically incorrect villain part, Richie talking to Chris that I mentioned about what he can do to Adriana, you know. What a great feminist point that he makes, of course. Janice's line, that's when she says that house is effed after she sees it, what Meadows done to it. That's one of my favourite lines in this episode, actually. Kind of a hypocrite as well, because she defends Meadow. She defends Meadow, and then she doesn't defend her when she gets the brunt of the consequences of Meadows partying or whatever. Actually, I am going to edit. I've already clicked on the editing section, as you can see, but I am going to edit it to include that, which would be hypocrite. So hypocrite, Janice advocates a softly approach to Meadow until she enters Livia's house and sees what damage Meadow and her friends have done to it. Which then leads her to advocating a tougher stance against Meadow. Yeah. There is another one I want to. There's a Berserk button I want to put in as well. Which would be here. So Berserk button. Tony doesn't doesn't like being told, being given parenting advice by Janice, and proceeds to throw his bowl of cereal across the room. Yeah, that's a good moment as well. There's a lot of good kitchen moments in the second season because Janice is living there, and there's a lot of the big conflicts of the big conflictual scenes are in the kitchen, perhaps more than any other season. The dining area, whatever you want to call it. Well, the kitchen area, actually, yeah. So let's preview that, see if we got it right. Berserk button, hypocrite, yeah. It's funny, yeah, talking about this can get the wheels of my mind rolling, as it were. Yeah. Just reading through a bit more. Yeah. So that's about it for this episode. That's got a couple of tropes edited in there, didn't we? That's good. Commander Tory. Yeah. One of well, this is the first vacation episode, I believe, isn't it? So the quote is, "Commander Tory like a commander." I like that. That's respect. Paulie Walnuts Galtieri. And yeah, this is a good screenshot of the episode. One of the few female mobsters we see. I think this is one of those that isn't all that liked. Fans don't like where they go outside of the norm of the show, and this is obviously one of those. And it's fairly introspective, I suppose, of the whole, particularly how Paulie doesn't fit in with the real Italy, which is, he's far more of an American Italian than an Italian American. Or is it the other way round? Yeah, it's the other way. Well, yeah, he's more of an Italian American than an Italian American, shall we say? Yeah, if that makes sense. Creator cameo. Oh yeah, this is one of David Chase's cameo appearances. Chase glances at Crawley indifferently and then turns away. Yeah, probably his best cameo appearance, actually. Establishing character moment. Furio, whose first appearance this is, has more than one. Yeah. Elvis impersonator. Yeah. One of Big Pussy's worst moments, where he kills an Elvis aficionado named Jimmy Bones for running into him while meeting with his FBI handler. If he claims to be from Delaware, where he claims that Skip is from Delaware or something, which doesn't strike me as a hotbed of the mafia, really. Delaware, but anyway, could be wrong. Godfather. Oh, shout outs to both the first and second Godfather. Yeah, that's interesting because there was an early instalment weirdness on one of the season 1 episodes which claimed that it was weird that the Godfather was being referenced, because that was an example of early instalment weirdness. Yeah, I mean, it just seems, obviously that doesn't fit, does it? I mean, because it's still being regularly referenced, as we can see in the second season. Yeah. Title drop here is several times courtesy of Paulie. After he and Tony are addressed this way, his use of it only makes him stand out much more as a fish out of water. Yeah, which he is, of course. Developing Doom characters. Jimmy Bones is a one-off character who's shown to be an Elvis impersonator. Aside from the fact that he's a friend of Bigfoot who noticed him with Skip, his pastime and family are shown to add some depth to a rather minor character. Yeah, certainly one of the more disturbing moments, you know, the killing someone just because there's like a 2% chance of him spilling the beans. I mean that has some parallels to Vito's situation where he gets caught in the club much later on, obviously. But of course Vito doesn't actually kill those guys. Yeah. So the 5th episode is Big Girls Don't Cry. And we get a conversation rather than a quote, which is between Tony and Malfi. So Tony says, I was working outside a whorehouse while a guy that works for me was inside beating the shit out of a guy that owes me money, broke his arm, put a bullet in his kneecap. How did that make you feel, says Malfi. Tony, wished it was me in there. Malfi, giving the beating or taking it? Yeah, that's one of the great Malfi lines, definitely, isn't it? Yeah, that really gets to the crux of the issue. The screenshot is Tony and Paulie. Yeah, not the most memorable sort of. I mean, this could be from any episode, really, couldn't it? But yeah, I think this is the one where Pussy gets passed over for promotion, which indicates that Tony already subconsciously believes that Pussy is working for the feds. Yeah. This is the episode where Christopher plays James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause, or Jim Stark, I should say, in Rebel Without a Cause. And interesting how he's similar to James Dean in his acting style, both in the film and as a character in the show. Yeah. Shout out, yeah, shout. It should be under shout out, shouldn't it? Yeah. Yeah, well, here we go. So yeah, enforced method acting, which is what I was just getting into really. Chris is so consumed with remembering the death of his father that he has an actual breakdown while performing a monologue from Rebel Without a Cause. Yeah. Gilligan Cuts. Oh, we haven't done one of these yet in these ramblings. This is one of the. Actually, let's go to this because yeah. See what it says here. Note of historical interest. This was the first trope page ever to be put on TV Tropes. The 14th of June 2007. So that was. I think that was several days after the Sopranos finale. Interesting. So what else do we have happening in this episode apart from James Dean and Big Pussy and Furio and all that coming to New Jersey? Oh, we get the reunion of Tony and Malfi. Yeah. Yeah, well, of course we do, yeah. It's the opening quote, isn't it? Opening conversation of this page, yeah. Is this the episode, is this the acting class also where Christopher gets, there's a funny line where he's asked to introduce himself and he says that Adriana brought him a kind of manual on how to act, and that was a year ago or something, and everyone laughs or something. No, it's something like how to learn acting in a month, and then he says that was a year ago that she brought me that, or something like that. Yeah, everyone laughs, understandably. Yeah. Yeah. Brick joke. These are always fun as well. Actually, what was the Gilligan's cut? Yeah, we didn't read it, did we? Dr. Malfi remarks to Dr. Cuthbert that Tony is sometimes like this little boy. In the very next scene, Tony orders Furio to shake down Dominic. I don't... Yeah, I guess that is a Gilligan cut, isn't it? But yeah. A brick joke. Furio's abilities as a cheesemaker brought up in the opening and only realised near the end of the episode, where Artie and Charmaine, watching confusedly, he tries poorly to roll a ball of cheese while smoking a cigarette. Yeah. Video example is flirting with Irina, apparently. You can't see it. Yeah. So we're well over half an hour now, so yeah, that's a good time to end it. And next episode is one of my favourites in the entire show, which is the Happy Wanderer. So yeah, this seems like that makes it even better point at which to end this episode. So yeah, I'll be back for that in the next one, and thanks for watching.